Welcome, everybody. We are super excited to be talking to you guys today about the Genesis Hackathon. This is our first ever hackathon, so we're really excited about it. This is also our first kind of Genesis Week related thing that we're kicking off. We're super excited to celebrate with you all. As you guys know, we're going in person for the very first time, so we're going to be having a slew of different events in Vegas for you guys. So if anybody hasn't gotten their ticket and there's still time. So make sure to get on over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of really cool stuff planned for you guys. And of course, there's, as always with Genesis Week, there's going to be a ton of in-game events and activities all week long for you guys to participate in. Giveaways, challenges, really anything that you can name it. It's going to be really exciting and a really good time. So, but let's keep the focus on what we are talking about today. And this is the Genesis Hackathon. So just so you guys are aware, this is not meant to be kind of a full detailed reveal of the entire nature of the hackathon. Really what we're trying to do here is just kind of give you guys a primer to get prepared and kind of set some expectations for what you're going to see next Tuesday when we actually kick things off and launch. I would ask that you guys all save your questions for the end. We are going to run through a bunch of different things, some topics. I'm going to talk about a couple things. Don, of course, is going to present a bunch of things. And then I'd like to basically save all our time for questions at the end. But without further ado, I think we should go ahead and kick things off. Thank you all for joining us today. So like I said, this is our first ever Upland Hackathon. So basically what this means is we are now introducing some new developer capabilities. This is going to be greater than kind of what you've been able to do with, your Upland tools and stuff since, before. We are introducing a 50,000 USD grand prize, or rather a grant to the winning team, basically to help that team fulfill their vision to actually accomplish their mission and their goal. We're also going to be having an in-person pitch day with the finalists of the hackathon live at Genesis Week with a panel of judges. So this is all going to be really exciting. This is all brand new to us. So I think this is just going to be a lot of fun. Don, from your perspective, like what are Upland's goals? What are our goals for this hackathon, and what are we trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, and it's Genesis Week, so with the theme of Genesis and New Beginnings, this is the actual first step of the beginning of our much talked about developer program. So, we have that as one of our pillars on the roadmap. We have actually set up a dedicated team to work on developer tools, and now we are going to be happy to introduce the very first step that is beyond kind of like the read capabilities that some of our developer friends have had access to so far. Our primary goal is basically to spark everybody's imagination and kind of like take these initial set of tools and try to figure out, okay, what does that mean basically to the future? What are the cool things we can do with them? And then probably another goal would be to start getting that relationship with developer teams around the world that potentially would start working and build on top of Upland. So, really exciting times for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like personally, I can't wait to see kind of how that evolves and how we can build the relationship with the developers and empower them to create something really unique and awesome. So from your perspective, what do you think is the most exciting part about hosting this hackathon for us or for you even?
To me, it's absolutely going to be, seeing all the cool ideas that the community comes up with. At the end of the day, we have our own imaginations and we have our own visions, but every time we put something for the creativity of the community, we get blown away by the results. So I'm absolutely confident we'll get blown away with whatever we get pitched with. So that is my personal expectation. Just waiting to see what people come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that with a lot of our user-generated contests that we've been running over the past, several months or so. Is the quality that we received really did kind of blow us away and exceed our expectations. So I expect nothing less for the hackathon. I think it's going to be a really exciting opportunity for all of those people to engage in a totally different way. So last question here is just, what do you think this means for the future of Upland as a platform, right? This is kind of us taking a next step forward and kind of maturing as a platform, as an economy and ecosystem. So, what does this really mean for all of that?
Exactly. And you put it exactly correctly. This is, again, we've always talked about how Upland will become a powerful platform, and this is a very, very crucial step for it. And now entrepreneurs around the world, people who want to create value in Upland, not just for the stakeholders, but even for themselves as kind of like entrepreneurial activities. Now they're going to have actually the tools. So it's not just about creating NFTs, right, and selling them. It's about potentially complementing them with totally new experiences, which is the really fascinating aspect of things.
Absolutely, yeah, and that experiences, I think, is the core of it. Is actually creating new kind of value for the community, for the ecosystem, and empowering all of the players and the developers at the same time. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are all excited about it. Let's kind of get into some of the details on kind of what you guys can expect over the next week or so. So just to cover some schedules and some timelines. So on May 31st, this is going to be the official launch of the hackathon. So it is going to start on Tuesday, May 31st at 8 a.m. Basically, we will be sending out all those details that morning. And we're going to have basically pencils down by Thursday, June 2nd at 5 p.m. So just be aware of that timeline, plan accordingly. It is pretty condensed. So just make sure that you have, all the resources ready to accomplish that, your goals within that amount of time. On June 3rd, which will be that Thursday, I believe, that is going to be the announcement of the five
Friday.
finalists. Yeah, or rather the Friday. Oh, you're right. Sorry. Dates. We'll announce the 5 finalists on that Friday, and then those people will actually come and pitch to us in person on June 10th. So this is going to be live in person at the Sahara in Las Vegas, and the select finalists are actually going to come pitch to our panel of judges in person, and we will basically start the adjudicating process there. And then we will move to the Light It Upland Awards party that is going to be on that Friday in the evening. And here we'll announce 3 different winners, basically. One, the community's choice. So we are going to let players who are attending in person vote on their favorite pitch of the day. We're also going to announce the design challenge winner, and then, of course, the grand prize hackathon winner at the end. So this is kind of a loose timeline to expect. Obviously, we're going to be working with you guys throughout the whole process. So any questions and things that come up will be available to kind of be a resource for you guys. But why don't we jump into the weeds? Let's talk about some of the overview of the tools and actual services that they're going to be using. So Adnan, what tools are developers going to have access to for the hackathon?
Yeah, so let's start with the boring stuff, right? So we'll get it out of the way. So, people are probably already familiar with some of the public read APIs that kind of like developers already tap into to create some external and very valuable kind of like information and analytics oriented services. So again, a specific set of read APIs will be moved to the third-party API portal just for the sake of this hackathon. And in the future, these will be expanded on to create much more variety and abilities just to read public information that relates to the Upland metaverse. In addition, something interesting is that we're going to add a new capability to get 3D models from the map with their precise geolocation. So basically, the Upland metaverse can be reconstructed externally with kind of like precise geo details. So
That's
very
awesome.
important, but not the most exciting stuff. Well, maybe let's get to the kind of like to the new
The fun stuff.
the fun stuff. And this is where we introduce. Just waiting for the slide to change.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. That's when we introduce what we call the new asset escrow and resolution services. And it's a big name, but what does it include? So basically, it includes a set of tools that would allow for the following sequence of things. First of all, there's going to be the ability for third-party developers to map their user base to Upland's user base. So we're going to reveal the exact sequence of how that is done technically, and it's very simple and intuitive to do. But basically, that allows for a developer to map their users to an Upland users obviously with the Upland users' explicit permission. And this is a returning motive. Everything that's being done through this requires the Uplander's permission to perform. So nobody's security is getting compromised. Nobody's assets are getting compromised. The next thing, once this identity is established, is basically the developer will get access then to read APIs that are user specific. So, for example, the ability to query a user's asset list as one example. And kind of like by that identity mapping, the user will be granting the permission of the read data to that developer. So another important point is that our assumption is that users, by connecting their identity in the third-party developer side to Upland, they basically state that they trust the developer to read their information.
Right.
And then basically here comes now the escrow part. Now we're getting to the exciting part. So now once that mapping is established, the developer will have the ability to ask for the user's permission to take assets that they own and put it in escrow accounts that Upland will manage for them. So for example, I can ask you, hey, as a third-party developer, I want to use your specific block explorer. And then the Uplander will be asked to authorize that movement to escrow. At that point, these assets would go into escrow. The next point is allowing the developers to resolve the escrow to any mapped Upland identity, meaning that now, as the assets are in escrow, the developer has full control to basically reassign the ownership of these assets. So it can be done either back to the original owner, or it could be resolved into any other Uplander that is mapped with that developer account. Now, for the sake of the hackathon, the tools only cover kind of like these assignment and resolution of the escrow capabilities. In the future, though, there's also going to be capabilities to utilize these assets as they are in escrow by the developer. So basically, the developer gets temporary permission to utilize the assets before they are being resolved.
Yeah, I think all this is really awesome to me because like this is like us actually enabling the metaverse concept in my mind, is like, you know, actually using your assets for other purposes outside of just inside of our ecosystem. So I'm super excited about all this.
And moreover, basically what does it mean? We have a lot of NFTs, a lot of capabilities in Upland, and there are a lot of developers in the world, but not a lot of blockchain developers. So again, we always say the same way that kind of like Upland took, you know, blockchain technology and kind of like democratized it, made it accessible to mass consumer audiences without having to know anything about private keys or API or wallets or kind of like native currencies for blockchains. This is the same way we're trying to democratize working with NFT to developers. So basically, all you need to know as a developer is how to work with a set of APIs, and now you can create full-blown experiences that are based on Upland NFTs. So again, very exciting set of tools there.
Yes, very awesome. Shall we talk about the assets that they're going to have access to?
Absolutely, because again, just a reminder, this is kind of like, again, the genesis of developer tools. They are not covering everything that will be deployed in the future. It's just the first step to enable the hackathon and to spark people's imagination. And so the assets that are going to be covered are limited to the following. So it's going to be Apex, it's going to be the Block Explorer NFT, the Structure Ornament NFT, and Spark. Now, one important note about Spark, we included Spark in this hackathon, again, just to be able to spark the imagination. When we anticipate going into full production and integrating these tools to the actual Upland metaverse, Spark will not be utilized before we allow the movement of Spark in between users, similar to how we allow it for Apex. So again, for the sake of this hackathon, these are the assets that are going to be included, that developers will get access to basically manage on behalf of any participating users.
Awesome. So I wanted to give you guys a couple of stuff to set expectations. Don, you want to?
Yeah, sure. So first of all of this hackathon will be done on a Sandbox environment that is going to be full and complete, but completely separated from Upland. So we're not actually talking about people's actual assets for the sake of this hackathon. And that Sandbox will also be working with a testnet blockchain and not the EOS mainnet. The projects can be implemented using any client or server technology that the developers want to use. So it's agnostic of what is being used because it's completely separated from Upland. And one note, again, as kind of like teams go and try to figure out, okay, what do I want to build? What is the value I want to cast? My one suggestion is to keep it safe and compliant because, for example, I know a lot of people going to go, hey, let's do a Apex casino, right? Apex that sounds like a fun thing. While it does sound fun, and maybe in the future we are going to be able to enable it, pending geolocation verification. That will not win you the hackathon because it needs to be something that we can safely implement, kind of like as a thought practice in actual Upland as it is today. So again, try to stay away from things that are not safe for work or kind of like theoretically illegal in some jurisdictions across the world.
Use your common sense. Just think about it. It's like thinking before you speak.
That's always a good idea.
Yes,
in general.
Exactly. So I wanted to walk you guys through kind of the judging process, what to expect when you're submitting your projects and whatnot. So basically the way this is going to work is developers are going to submit their projects obviously before the deadline on June 2nd. These submissions are going to be reviewed and critiqued by the Upland team. By Friday, we're going to select the finalists. So 5 of those teams will be selected to pitch their projects to our panel of judges. Now, because we can't really accommodate the whole team, each finalist is basically going to elect one representative to join us in Las Vegas, and that one person will be responsible for the actual physical pitch to us. Teams should be formed in groups of 2 to 5 members, so we do expect you guys to work together, to collaborate, and to kind of build something. This is what it's all about, community, right? So we definitely want to make sure that people are working together on this. We are going to have 6 judges present live at Genesis Week in Las Vegas. After you guys do your pitch, the judges are going to adjudicate. They'll ask you some questions. So finalists should be ready to answer any questions that they might receive from the panel of judges. So that's kind of the process. That's how things are going to shake out. But let's talk a little bit about the judging criteria. So we have 6 different categories that we're going to judge you on. The first is team composition and skills diversity. Basically, this is like, how well is your team constructed? Does this translate well into a real world team? So really what we want to see is, like, in a real world business, obviously you need a diverse team with various skills to accomplish different goals. So your hackathon team should reflect this to some extent. Obviously, we're not expecting you to build a full scale team and have, each part of the process, but it should represent kind of some variety of, how you put your team together and how it might actually work in the real world. The quality of the pitch is going to be another important one. So, this is kind of the wow factor. How well are you able to convey an idea and excite your audience about, the potential opportunity or the use case, right? So anybody can come up with an idea, but really how you express that idea, how you convey those goals, that's really what we're looking for. We want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what you are trying to accomplish. The quality of the prototype. So how well did your team execute your idea? Was the user experience well thought out? How does your product accomplish the goals that you set out to achieve? Obviously, we're not expecting perfection, but your product should accurately reflect kind of the broader vision, right? How this product can evolve, how it's going to change and grow. It should communicate all of that. Also, we want to see how well all of our developers make use of the new tools and services. So this part is pretty specific to the hackathon. So how, your product must leverage the new tools that we're giving out. So you guys might have older projects that you're working on and stuff. So just make sure that this is actually using our new tools and services and not our previous read-only APIs. We also want to see, how feasible is your product or your concept for a business case, right? How well does it translate into a real-world business model? We want to see how you plan to grow your product into a full-scale business, or how that can potentially be done, right? It's important that your product is actually translatable into a sustainable business. We want to see products that will stand the test of time, not ones that are going to have a really short shelf life. And then the last is the mission statement. So we are going to reveal the full mission statement on Tuesday, but the core of the concept really revolves around one question, and that's, does your product, does your project add value to the Upland ecosystem? That's what we want to do, right? We want to see how you guys are creating value for the Upland stakeholders. So now that we've gone through that, I do want to talk a little bit about the awards and pricing, kind of what to expect there. So for the Genesis Hackathon, obviously, as we mentioned before, there is going to be a $50,000 grant to the winning team to help realize their vision. That is the goal, to actually help these developers put their product into practice and make it a real thing. We are going to announce this live at the Light It Upland Awards party on Friday night. And this is all going to be voted on the hackathon judges. We are going to reveal the judges at a later date. But as I mentioned before, we'll have a panel of 6 judges. It also should be noted that we are going to divide the $50,000 grant to all of the team members, just to ensure kind of fair play and everything. We are also going to have a community's choice winner for this hackathon as well. So all of our in-person attendees are actually going to have an opportunity to vote on their favorite presentation of the day. And all of the members of that team will be receiving a special gift. So with that, that is kind of the rough version of what to expect next week. I did want to introduce somebody, and this is going to be our new head of security and developer relations. So please welcome to the stream, Martin. Oh, hold on, Merkichian. Did I get it right?
Just about. Hey guys, good to be here. Not obviously not new to the community. I probably spoke to a lot of you in the past, but if I haven't, Happy to meet you all again. And we formed this community. So my role at Upland is head of information security and developer relations. In this particular context, I will be your liaison and point of contact, everything third-party development related. My goal is to ensure your success. So essentially what that means is, questions, answers, anything that we can facilitate between you and the Upland team in making sure that we take your feedback, your your ideas, etc., and make sure that you are successful. And most importantly, providing you with the tools necessary for you to be able to be successful, because your success is our success. If you haven't already, as you know, we have the Upland Developer Network going. If you haven't applied yet, feel free to go to our one of our our webpage and to the community directory page and apply for it. And every application is reviewed, and we'll be if you're a developer and you have good background, we'd be happy to see you there.
Absolutely. So if you guys do want to apply, you can head over to the upland.me website and go to the community directory. There is a link to submit your application there. We review these applications on a rolling basis, and we'll be introducing new developers over time. We're really trying to grow that community, basically foster it as a place for players to collaborate, work together, and actually build new projects and exciting experiences. So Martin, can you tell us a little bit more about what players can expect on launch day, or rather developers?
Yeah. So obviously, as Idan mentioned already, a lot of it is, and we've gone through the, the judging criteria and such. We're expecting, creativity, innovation, during hackathon. And again, from the launch day perspective, we will be emailing you instructions. Probably we will also have, posted instructions on Discord for you guys to have information ready. There will be support staff for developers in case, and I personally will be there, and some of our team members, to ensure that if you have any questions or constraints, we help you, channel that successfully, and get you the answers that you need. You will get a full access to an Upland Sandbox environment. This is basically a test. This is basically a playground environment for you guys to develop and test your applications. You'll get a set of Sandbox developer APIs. These are basically these are basically the APIs that will with descriptions and such, and then you will use these APIs to actually, of course, to create your new innovative solution for a hackathon. And then last but least, what we're expecting from you is obviously, creativity. We're expecting from you a document, with a description, a pitch of your product, your software product platform that you've developed, whatever we want to call it. We expect, introduction of team members and such, technologies used, and think of it a way for you to be able to sell it, right? What makes your product so unique? What is it that, what's the game changer? And these are the stuff that, how does it bring value to the Upland ecosystem and to the player base, right? But think of it in this context, and I think you guys will all crush it, because I've met a lot of you, and you guys are all very talented.
Yeah, super excited. Long story short, we will be emailing you guys complete details next Tuesday, alongside the list of deliverables that we expect, and kind of all of the information that you'll need to be successful in the hackathon. So
maybe just worth mentioning, like anybody listening who hasn't yet registered, there's still time, right? So
yes, there is, absolutely.
There's time until Tuesday. Make sure that you register if you want to get all the invitation, all the information in due time. But in any case, anybody can jump in at any time. The critical part will be the deadline where the deliverables need to be submitted.
Right. So if you guys do want to register, you want to basically receive the emails for all of the additional details, do head over to the Genesis Week landing page. I believe it's just upland.me/Genesis-week. And you can submit the form there to be added to that list. So with that, let's go to questions. You guys have any questions, please feel free to write them out in the chat now. Don and Martin are both be available to answer anything that you guys, any burning questions that you have.
Awkward silence.
Are
we waiting for any live questions, or are we?
Yeah, I'm looking through the chat. I don't see any. Maybe we're that good.
Okay.
What is the Upland mission statement? Unfortunately, you mean like Upland as a whole? I'll wait for clarification. Oh, design challenge. So I did see some questions on design challenge. Just for context, we're not really going to be talking too much about the design challenge today. We'll be revealing more details on Tuesday. It is going to be pretty straightforward. We'll provide you guys with like a package of sample files and stuff to get ready for it. We'll give you more clarity then. But there's not too much to discuss other than that. And please keep your questions specific to the hackathon. How about this one? Will developers be able to bring experiences to structures?
Well, again, I would say this is up to the developer, basically. So there is going to be access to get structures, specific structure models with their geolocations. Our current structure models do not contain internal modeling. So maybe keep that in mind, but
and then there's another question here. How UpX escrow will be subject to the Upland community fees pool?
Absolutely. So when UpX is resolved in favor of a different player than the originator, 10% will be automatically deducted to the community pool. If it is returned to the original owner, it will be returned 100% without penalty, without commission. Sorry.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you, UpX boy. Lucas Musita has a question. He says, what are the programming languages allowed?
So as, again, important point to stress, all of Hackathon submissions will not be integrated into the Upland app. These are all going to be external application, which means that you can just choose, the language of your choice, either client tools, server tools, a mix of both, whatever is your comfort zone.
The world is your oyster. Crazy EU asks, are we allowed to use our own data in addition to the new endpoints?
Absolutely. The idea at the end of the day is that we are providing infrastructural tools, and these are meant to complement your experience. It doesn't have to be, again, basically the only limit is your imagination at the end of the day, right? You can do whatever you want as long as it, again, we make sure that we basically enforce the rules on the infrastructural level. For example, what happens when UpX moves from one account to another? That was a great question with the kind of like the how it works with the community pool. Beyond that, again, you can just do whatever your imagination tells you to do.
Awesome. The illustrious Satoshi Nakamoto asks, what does your ideal candidate look like?
Yeah, I don't think I will answer that because I may end up being on the judging panel. So
all right, so we'll save that one. You'll have more details later.
I would say again, one thing to keep in mind: there's no prerequisite that every team covers single one of these judging criteria. It's almost impossible. It just means that the more you do, the better you do on all fronts, the more chances you are going to have to walk away as the winner. So I would say don't be obsessed. If you have, if you are great on all fronts, but you're only a team of 2 developers, it doesn't mean you can't win it, right? When we look at the team specifically, we're going to look primarily at the diversity of the skill sets in the team. So, for example, if it's only developer, it may be in a disadvantage with a team that has developers and a designer, maybe, or somebody that has marketing experience, etc.
Right. So this next question comes from Augie, and I think really what he's looking at is more clarity, and I think they're asking about specific educational tools on building stuff for blockchain, and I think the goal of this hackathon is actually that you don't need that experience, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so basically you guys are kind of free to use what you have and just make use of the tools that we provide.
By the way, if somebody wants to complement it with data they are looking at the blockchain from, again, there's no constraint that says that you can't do that.
Right, exactly. So will this escrow service include renting our buildings in the future?
Again, the escrow service will allow for third-party developers to do what they wish to do with assets that are in escrow. And again, keeping in mind that any escrowed item has gone through the explicit approval of the original owner.
Right. So it's up to you. You decide. Tell us. I have another question here. I think this one is a little bit more relevant to the design challenge, and they're asking, is the Adobe Suite compatible with the designs for creativity? Absolutely. We definitely make use of Adobe for different design elements and stuff. So you'll absolutely be able to use that for the design challenge, of course. Let's take a look and see what other questions we have. This one is about the Upland Developers Network. It's just how can you be sure that you're registered? So yeah, we have to make sure that there's an email that's going out that confirms your application. But rest assured, if you did submit it, we did receive it. We just haven't reviewed them. So I think every other week or once a month or so, we'll be reviewing all those applications and sending out new invites.
But by the way, just to make sure, submitting the result of the hackathon doesn't require you necessarily to be registered for the UDN, right? It's just, right. I would do that because it would provide you, better access to the resources in our team, but it's not a problem.
Right. Better networking and just better opportunities to collaborate with the community, but there's no prerequisite to be in the UDN to actually participate in the hackathon. We just highly recommend that everybody that participates in the hackathon apply for the UDN. I did see another question. Oh, is there a preferred supported plugin for experiences? Is it Unity, something else?
Again, nothing is preferred. What is preferred is what you think you may come up with as the best result. We're not going to be judging in any of the criteria, any of the projects by the selected tools. That is not a criteria for judging. It's all about the results and the quality and the pitch and the team.
Can I add something to that? So guys, from a developer perspective, right? Your innovation, your technicality, right? It's all at play, right? So if you think there is something with Unity that you can do that is going to benefit you, the world is yours, right? And again, this applies to, and the beauty of what we're doing here is we're trying to not limit you, right? Well, we're trying to give you the creativity and the opportunity to basically use any tools, any languages, etc., to make sure that you personalize it as your own and get the results that you can that you need. And that's basically the primary goal.
All right, thank you, Goldsmith. ROV Pilot says, can you confirm that properties itself will not be a part of these supported escrow assets?
Yes, it is confirmed that they're not going to be supported for the sake of this hackathon. They will absolutely be a part in the future of the actual developer tools.
Yes. And to follow that up, Griffwald asks, none of the APIs and such just presented will exist outside of the hackathon yet, I assume. Any timeline to bring them to the mainnet?
Yeah, definitely in 2022.
Right. So they will exist. We're just not quite there yet. Basically, this is our first iteration. We're going to continue building on this and, of course, release the full set of tools sometime later this year. I did see a question here. Is your sandbox as easy to use as Vox Edit to build? So I did just want to clarify this, that when we refer to the sandbox, we're meaning like a sandbox environment. This is not like a no-code editing tool. Correct, Idan?
Absolutely. So this is just like a fake version of Upland where it's easy for you to gain assets, buy properties, set up accounts, get OpEx, just to demonstrate the abilities of what you're building.
Absolutely. Well, this is a great question from the Upland Guide. Are you looking for the winning project to implement the project in the short term, or are you looking for projects that are going to be larger and utilize features that maybe don't exist yet, like the NFT portal or outdoor decor?
Yeah, so I would say feel free to have a grand vision that assumes that any asset in Upland will be in the future part of the escrow capabilities. Having said that, it's highly encouraged that you do use the existing tools because that's part of the judging criteria.
Right. Okay, Griffwald has a follow-up question. It says, for the existing third-party resources and their related APIs, are those closed off in general or granted as a part of the UCN acceptance? I think he's referring to what our process is right now. So I think right now we've kind of worked privately with developers to provide that access. Is that correct?
Yeah. So right now, as things stand, we've worked privately with developers to give access to it, but obviously that, I mean, with the whole introduction of UDN, that is changing.
Right. And just to clarify, they won't need sorry, what am I trying to say? Being a part of the UDN will not be a prerequisite to have access to these resources. It's just an added bonus.
It is important to say, though, as the hackathon is basically open to anybody who's willing to submit their project, the actual developer tools, there would be a registration process and as a developer to be accepted into the program. So,
right. Awesome. I don't see any more questions at this time. I'll give you guys a minute or so to do any final questions that might be burning. Don, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say?
I'm just excited. And then, you know, we have, again, a great team behind this that put a lot of efforts into putting this together. This is a first for us, right? It's going to be exciting. It's going to be chaotic. But again, just super, super, super excited to see what the result looks like, what people come up with.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be chaotic or rather, it wouldn't be Upland if it wasn't chaotic. So awesome. Well, I think that is just about it for us today, guys. I don't see any more questions coming in. If you guys do have additional questions, please head over to the official Upland Discord server. There is a Genesis Hackathon channel in there that you guys can use to ask any questions. Martin will be available in there to answer questions. We'll have also other members of the team kind of monitoring that channel to make sure that we are, you know, providing all of the relevant information that's necessary to be successful. But with that, I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to see what people put together next Tuesday and beyond. And super excited for Genesis Week. I think this is just going to be our best Genesis Week yet. I can't wait to share what we have in store for you guys.
Yeah, and don't wait with those tickets. Anybody want to come in person? This is going to be phenomenal. So
get over there. It's going to be awesome.
Make sure if you can, you should come.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen what the party venue looks like, it's pretty sweet. So definitely go check that out. And also, come check out the auction today. We're going to be live in just over 20 minutes with another version of the Upland Auction House. So make sure you join us for that. Come hang out with me and X1 the Gamer. We're going to have a great time, listen to music and chat and auction some properties. So thank you guys all once again. We will see you next Tuesday. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.